Hello guys, I am Engineer Muhammad Adnan Khan and you are watching my YouTube channel Being Engineer. If you are new to my channel, you are requested to please subscribe it and press the bell icon so that you can get my latest videos. In this video lecture, we will discuss what is meant by overlapping of steel and how to calculate lap length of steel and where should lapping be provided in a slab, in a beam or in a column. You are requested to please watch the full video so that you can get the understanding of the topic. Before we start our today's topic, I would like to tell you that these are thumb rules for lapping. SCI codes provide provisions about lapping, but it's a cumbersome procedure. Here I am going to explain the thumb rules which are formulated based on experience of practicing engineers. So let's get started. First of all, what is lap length? A lap is when two pieces of reinforcing bar or rebars are overlapped to create a continuous line of rebar, or the lap length is provided to overlap two rebars in order to safely transfer load from one bar to another bar. It is also known as lap splicing. As you can see, one bar is overlapped over another bar to get the desirable height or length. This portion of the bar is called as lap splicing. Why it is needed? Why do we provide lapping? Let's suppose we need to achieve the height of 20 meter in a building, but there is no 20 meter bar available in the market. The maximum length available is 12 meter, so we need two bars of 12 meters spliced together to achieve the height of 20 meter. Let's suppose the required length of a bar is 20 meter for a structural member, but the available length of a bar in market is 12 meter. So we need another bar of 12 meter to be spliced together to achieve the length of 20 meter, that is our desirable length. Here question arises, why 12 meter? It could be smaller or longer. The answer is, it is because of transportation and manufacturing difficulty. Now, how to calculate the lap length? The calculation of lap length for tension zone and compression zone is different. First of all, we will discuss the lap length in beam. As you can see in this picture, when the load is being applied on the top of the beam, the upper portion of the beam goes into compression and lower portion of the beam and the fibers in the lower portion experiences tension. So let's discuss tension zone first. There are two cases. First one is flexural tension. What is flexural tension? Flexural tension refers to change in length of a member with bending or twisting. It can also be called as bending moment. It means if a member bent a bit after the load is applied, it is said to be flexural tension. Lap length for flexural tension is equal to LD. What is LD? LD is development length, or 30D, whichever is greater between these values. Generally, LD is taken as 40 times of D. What is D? D is the dia of bar that we are using in structural member. Second one is direct tension. What is direct tension? When the change in length occurs without bending or twisting. It means member remains straight after the application of force. So the lap length for direct tension is 2 times of development length, LD, where D is the dia of bar, or 30D, whichever is greater. For compression zone, the straight length of lapping bar shall not be less than 15 times of dia of bar or 20 cm in compression. The lap length in compression zone is LD, calculated in compression. It should never be less than 24 times of dia of bar. Now these are few important points to be kept in mind while dealing with overlapping. These are quite helpful. First one is, when the bars of different diameters are to be spliced, the lap length is calculated considering the small dia of bars. It means if we are using bars of two different diameters, The lap should be provided considering the bar of smaller diameter. If the diameter of bar is more than 36 millimeters, then the bar should be welded instead of lapping. But when welding is not possible, then lapping can be permitted for larger bars than 36 millimeter. In this case, additional spirals should be provided around the lapped area. Lapping should be done in staggered manner. Number 5 point is the stirrups or ties shall be closely spaced in the lapping portion, because in the lapping portion the strength reduces up to certain extent, and to overcome this reduction in strength we provide closely spaced stirrups or ties. As I mentioned here, in the overlapped portion or welded portion, additional spirals should be provided around the lapped area. Where lapping should be provided, or where are the lapping zones for column? Lapping should be provided in the middle section of the column. Let's suppose we have a column of length L. In the case of column, the tension zone is located at L/4 distance from the both ends. So we should not provide any lapping in this portion. On the other hand, the bending moment at the middle portion is 0, which means this portion is least stressed. So we can provide lapping in the middle section to transfer stresses from bar to bar smoothly in this region. Where lapping should be provided in beam. As I already told you guys, top portion of beam experiences compression and bottom fibers experiences tension. As you can see in this picture, when the load was applied on the top of the beam, the top fibers of the beam goes into compression and bottom fibers experiences tension. As beam does not experience any negative moment, at the midspan of a beam, so lapping should be provided in this region. For the top reinforcement, lapping should be provided in this region, and for bottom reinforcement, the lapping is provided near the ends of the beam at the distance of L/4 from the face of the column. But it should not be provided in the middle span of the beam, and lapping should not be provided at the joints. In case of slab, now there are two types of slab, one-way slab and two-way slab. Provisions of one-way slab is similar to that of beam. The perfect position for lapping is at where the bending moment is least, that is point of contraflexion. Point of contraflexion is where the curve of bending moment changes its position from positive to negative, is called as point of contraflexion. For bottom reinforcement, laps are provided L/5 to L/3 distance from the supports, where L is effective span. For top reinforcement, in case of one-way slab, no lap is required. Since they are generally short, the lap bars in no case should exceed 1/3 of the total bars. Now in case of two-way slab, same practice may be adopted as I mentioned above, be followed. That is, for top reinforcement, no lap is required. Since they are generally short, the lap bars in no case should exceed 1/3 of the. If an end-to-end distance between laps is the least, then the lap should be provided in staggered manner. The minimum distance between adjacent bars in which laps to be provided, the minimum distance between end-to-end distance should be 75 millimeters. Now summarizing the whole discussion in the end, here is a general rule for overlapping. That is, lapping length for slab should be 60 times dia of bar. The lapping length for beam should be same as that of slab, and the lap length for column should be 45D for the M20 grade concrete. That's all for today. In the end, you are again requested to please subscribe the channel and press the bell icon so that you can get my latest videos.